Hey, what's going on, Creator Universe? Everybody there out in YouTube land, how you guys doing? I am live right now, and Maggie from Maggie's Books and Stuff will be joining us in just a few minutes. She's getting set up in the other room. Maggie, if you don't know, whoa, sorry about that. Maggie from Maggie's Books and Stuff, if you don't know, is my wife, and she's awesome and amazing in every single way, which includes being one of the most creative people that I know. So she wanted to join me on this Fallout video thing, creative thing. Sorry, she's closing the door. Apparently, I'm talking too loud. You want to say hi?
Hello.
That's Maggie.
I'll be there in a sec.
Yeah. So while we wait for Maggie, let me see here real quick. I gotta just close this out. Give me just a second. There she is. And sorry about this. We're really testing the waters here with the upload speeds. Because now we're both uploading, and if you guys have ever watched my streams, you you know that sometimes these things get a little janky. So, all right, here we go. Just pulling this guy up here. All right, awesome. So, what we're doing, if you saw Monday's video, Monday Musing video, then you'll know that we're working on Fallout because I love Fallout, the video game, and the Fallout show is on, and Maggie and I decided to finally watch it on Monday and Tuesday is on, and Monday and Tuesday we started watching it, and dude, I have to tell you how amazing, like absolutely astonishing that show is. So far we're only on episode 2, or we just finished episode 2, and dude, hey Maggie, are you ready? I'm gonna throw you on camera, okay? All right, ready to go? 3, 2, 1, you're on.
Hello. Oh, my hair's nice. I just got back from work, so don't mind me being sloppy.
Yeah, she literally ran through the door.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, so I don't know if could you hear me? You could hear me, right, Max? Yeah. So I was just regaling everybody with how amazing the show is.
Do you want to
Actually,
talk about it?
Let's switch this up. We're just going to do this real quick. We're just going to face to face.
Oh yeah, super schlub. But no, the show. I think you and I have different perspectives because you were a gamer. You played the show, or you played the show.
Yeah,
You've played the game.
I played the show.
Don't mind me. But you played the game where I had just watched a smidge of you playing, and I don't really know the lore. I don't know. I can't recognize certain things. I don't understand the storyline. So I think you and I have completely different perspectives because we're coming from different backgrounds into the show. So you and I have different opinions.
Yeah, no, I know because I could.
Oh yeah, because you're gushing and I'm over here like.
Yeah. So that's what. Who's this? Boxers and Books. They say hello.
Carissa, hello,
Carissa. So yeah. So the thing is, I actually like this kind of dichotomy. I don't know if that's the right word, but the fact that like I know so much of it and you know so little. So like there's so many. Oh my god, there's so many things. I told you already about how the hi Steph, what's going on? She says hi guys.
Hey Chloe.
Oh, your videos are great. Videos. I only watched one so far. I think she's done 2 now.
Yeah, she's done a demo on games too. She's also a gamer.
Oh no way. Okay, so Steph, you're gonna have to jump in on this convo with Fallout if you've played it. Have you played it? Which ones have you played? Which one's your favorite?
I also already know some of her opinion on the show, which I don't know if you want me to say.
Well, she could tell us if she wants. You know, she can chitty chat. So also, just so you know, I think I told you, but we had the poll on my YouTube channel, and the robot won out. So we're doing the robot today, but it was so close with the Nuka Cola bottle. So I'm going to do the Nuka Cola bottle next week. So if you want to join, you can join me next
Yeah.
week.
Well,
Uh,
you already know because I'm your wife, but I've been jumping back and forth with what I'm going to do tonight,
yeah.
which I was going to do the robot. And then I'm like, no, maybe I'm not going to do the robot. Okay, I will. But now I'm going to do clay instead of paint. I'm not going to do a purse anymore. But then I went back to the purse. So I'm going to do a purse today. And it's not the robot, but I was thinking the back of the purse could be a Nuka Cola ad.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's
So
still
maybe you,
Fallout themed.
yeah. So, well, and so the thing is too, I'm doing everything with Stable Diffusion for
Mhm,
everybody that doesn't know. I'm doing my base models with Stable Diffusion, and
mhm.
then I'm pulling them into Photoshop and doing all that fun artwork stuff. Uh, Nuka Cola is so iconic that I haven't been able to actually. It's actually going to be a really good Photoshop project because I can't quite get what it's like in the actual game, the Nuka Cola bottle, because it's kind of like it's rounded, like really bulbous on the bottom, and then it goes up to the head, and then it has the glass fins on the bottom.
Mhm.
So I think it's going to be a cool. I've come up with some really cool Stable Diffusion choices.
For
Actually,
the
I
Nuka
will
Cola?
for Nuka Cola. Yeah,
Can you
um,
show them?
yeah, yeah. So
I
I'm just
haven't
going to
shown
pull them
those
up
to
here
me
real
yet.
quick. Hold on a second. I'm gonna make sure. Oh, there's Don Draper. I didn't tell you that, but I've been um I was
Oh, so
experimenting with some
while
Don
you
Draper stuff.
while you're looking at that, I'm gonna go through some of the comments. But Steph, she said that she played some of 4, but mostly 76 because it's multiplayer.
Uh
And she also
so
says Nuka Cola is iconic.
yeah, I'm curious what you feel about 76. So I started 76 when it was fairly new, and it was, let's see. Okay, I'm sharing that screen there. Let me pull this up. This is one of the closest Nuka Cola bottles that I was able to get.
So it's like a
Um
rocket.
Yeah, yeah. So this is actually pretty close. The game doesn't have, so these would all be glass, and um and this would be there'd only be three of them. So there'd be this one, the middle one, and that one. So that'd be pretty easy in Photoshop. Not necessarily to make them glass, but because of that glass eyeball martini thing that I got hanging up that was based off of your design.
Hmm.
Uh, I kind of figured out how to do a glass effect, which would work really well on this. Um, but like I like things like this. Like this is really, I want to do something more like this versus the white background, and
Hmm.
then just kind of like maybe marry this with a different background and then alter it. Um, it wasn't till, let's see, do I have, yeah, so you can see the original, like you see this kind of like faded out version here.
Yeah.
That's actually the base unit. I was using that as a go by as a control net, but
Yeah.
yes, I got like cool stuff like this. The one that I put in, so like you tell it like, oh yeah, I want rocket fins on the Nuka Cola bottle, so it gives you a rocket,
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And then I got an
I like
actual,
that. I
yeah,
doesn't say cola to me,
yeah.
but
Well,
I like
no,
it.
so this one, what I was trying to do was I was getting a lot of like these bottles. And then I
Mhm.
said, okay, well, let me just make rockets so that I can pull elements from the rocket and then do an actual composite in Photoshop. Um,
Gotcha.
so that's where, I mean, I'm having Stable Diffusion do less of the heavy front end load, and then I'd be doing more of the Photoshop load. So which is cool. So I don't know what this is. It's like a snow globe
Oh,
kind of
no.
thing, which I kind of dig. But yeah, so that was the Nuka Cola. Let me pull up. This was me trying to do Mr. Handy, which I don't think you've seen yet
I
in the
have.
show.
I saw some pictures today when I was trying to do research for what I wanted to do. I don't
Okay.
know why, but that last picture reminds me almost more of, like, War of the Worlds. I think that's the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. It's the legs, I think.
Yeah.
But I got a ton of these kinds. That's kind of a I'm trying to find the other because I got so many of the robots. So these are just some of the robots. These are not the ones that we're going with or that I'm going with today. That was the one you really liked
Yeah,
initially. I really
I like
liked
that
this
one
guy.
too. Mhm.
He's the guy that I had on my thumbnail holding the Fallout sign, so I did a little Photoshop for that. But anyway, so yeah, we're kind of going over that, um, and that's where we're at.
I think
So
maybe what I'll do is because I wanna do a purse, and I was thinking like a TV with you know how, whether you've seen the show or not, but like the old TVs would give you that like warning sign where it's almost like a green screen and it's like ticking down. Let me see. I have a picture on my phone. Hold on, let me grab it. But I want to do that on a TV screen and then like a Nuka Cola on the bottom, but or on the back. But maybe what I should do is like next week I could also create a little robot like pin out of clay, so like a small little guy, and he
yeah,
can go on like the handle of the purse or something. That way I'm still on theme, even though it's not like the correct week.
yeah, that's okay.
Maybe
the
it
The
works.
whole theme is really just Fallout, and so
That can you see
um,
that?
you have to move it over. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The please stand by.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah,
I'll put that inside of a vintage TV set because that's what I've enjoyed most so far with the show, is I like that vintage 1950s Cold War era vibe with the modern technology.
yeah.
So I wanna encapsulate that, I guess.
We have a comment. I highlighted it from Carissa. That black one doesn't say cola, but it says badass rocket. LOL. So, and then of course we have Mr. Brad Mason in the house.
Mr. Bradley Esquire.
Oh yeah. So can we say anything about that, Bradley?
Oh,
I haven't
sorry.
even told. I haven't even told Maggie about it. He's official. I'll tell you that as of last week, but I don't want to say anything um, unless
Well,
he says that it's okay.
but you just did.
No, but they don't know what official is. You know.
Oh.
Yeah, he's an official badass. Oh, he says, of course, Mr. Brad Mason passed the California bar. Woo! And is now an
Woo!
official attorney and like in court doing his thing and
Mhm.
just like taking the bad guys to task and just like
Yep.
punching down, like, you know. Anyway,
And if he
walk.
so chooses, he can wear the white wigs of the British people, even
I
though that's
so
not the
we
American
went.
standard.
Yeah,
Bradley would rock it.
we went to the Brimfield Fair not too long ago.
Hmm?
I'm not going to try to pull it up on my phone, but there's at the Brimfield Fair there's a oh, he's getting all kinds of congratulations. Steph is saying congrats Brad, amazing. We got Carissa, congrats. He's Facebook official, of course.
Yeah.
um but we have so they actually have I was looking for I'm huge into the American Revolution. Uh, and so, which actually is one of the reasons why I love Fallout 4, especially because it's based in Boston. And one of the first missions that you go into is you go to Concord, and there's this Revolutionary Museum that you got to go through, and you help the Minutemen. There's like one Minuteman guy with a laser rifle. Anyway, I digress. So uh, we went to Brimfield Fair, and I actually saw one of those wigs that Maggie is talking about, and I legitimately almost got it for Bradley because now he can wear one of them. I mean, I don't know how old the thing was, but that's me going way off topic. So why don't I start sharing my screen? Is that good? Do you want to get started? Because we're
Yes.
15 minutes in,
Let's
and
go. I have a problem with talking. I do this on my streams too, where I overtalk.
no, I don't care. The whole point is for people to like talk and converse and be part of the discussion. And I know that I'm on your Discord. Oh, I didn't. You know what? Afterwards, well, do you want to send me your Discord invite? I could throw it to the top of.
Oh no, because that's part of my Patreon stuff.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. But
But
I'm
thank
part of the conversation over there, and it's all about the community, and that's the whole point. Is anybody working on anything tonight? Who was it that was working on, because I can't remember because everybody has so many different usernames and I'm not used to everybody yet. So their username over on your Discord and then their YouTube username and then their actual name.
Yeah,
Someone was working on the diamond.
that was Jenny.
That's Jenny. Okay.
Yeah. She
So
goes,
that was
that's as Vadel. She's not here at the moment.
okay.
She might be busy tonight.
Yeah, that's how I always know her as Vadel.
Mhm.
Okay, so here we go. And so I always have to convert everybody. I have to convert their names as from what I knew them first. So, um, motion of continuance. Oh, here we go. Dude, I am so happy for you. And I want to pick your brain because you know how I get with the legal advice. Actually, I would love to get your legal commentary at some point about a number of different things. We got photo copyright, so like copyright infringement, which actually with AI stuff is a really big hot topic right now. So I'm curious about your thoughts. And now, do we have to say hashtag not legal advice? I think it's a good place to be to begin with. But um, anyway, yeah, I would love to have you on and have a conversation, maybe as like a podcast thing, a video podcast, or maybe one of these things if you want to do some creative stuff. So here we go. All right. So you said that you're working on clay, right, Mags?
No, I changed because I'm
Oh
a
no,
hobby.
you're painting. You're painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't keep track, even though you just told me that. Okay, so I got this super quirky robot, and then you don't have to listen to me this whole time because as I'm doing this stuff, I like to kind of explain to people. I believe Carissa was the one that said that she learned a few things from the masking and whatnot. Is that right, Carissa? Oh, and Bradley says I can officially give legal advice, at least in the state of California, which is, from what I understand, one of the most difficult places to get um, to pass the bar. All right, so I'm gonna go for filter and liquefy because I want this guy to have seen some shit. That's the idea of this. So I kind of have an idea on what I want to do. So there's, as always, there's a ton of different ways you can do this in Photoshop.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
So, what's your vision for the robot?
This guy, like I said, he's seen the horrors. So what I'm going to do, you can see me right now messing up his eye socket thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to give him some additional dents other than what's already here, kind of play around with that. And then I'm going to have some blood splatter and some like old, because it's going to be all like old blood. So some of it's going to be caked on and it's going to be, a little blacker and a little dirtier versus spots that are a little bit more red. So I'm playing with that. I don't want to do this all live and have oh,
Is that Adam?
it is. Say hi to
Hello.
uncle and aunt.
Gus.
Sooner Brad. Oh, and soon Massachusetts. Yes. And so this is going back to Bradley's legal thing. And yes, I'm not going to say when, but I can't wait for you to come out. I really can't. And hello, uncle and aunt. I don't want to dox your names, so I'm not going to say it, but hello. I assume the little one's there too.
Sorry.
Little man. I'm glad to see that you guys are up in town and can't wait to see you probably next week. I texted Mr. Madwab and Z about that. But yeah, so going back to your question here, Mags, I'm just going to make this guy, having seen the horrors of the wastelands.
Okay.
That's kind of the idea. So what I'm doing right now is the liquefy tool, which is super super powerful. And so you can like move things around. You'll actually see people use this on Instagram and whatnot. I don't know if you got the
to make them skinnier and
yeah, or certain parts of them to be bigger. But when you do that, the backgrounds will get all screwed up because, like, let's say that I wanted my biceps to be bigger, I could do that, but then if I just use the bloat tool, which you would do on this, my bicep looks great, but then the shelf behind me is also
So then
raised
what
up.
you would need to do then is remove yourself from the background image and then do 2 layers so you can liquefy the one that's just you and then put it back onto the background. Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. You don't even use Photoshop and you got it in like a half a second.
Well, I have this wonderful husband. I don't know if you've ever met him before, but he's very knowledgeable.
He sounds like an incredible guy.
He is a really, really great guy. Better than you.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. It said, oh, he said, it's 9 o'clock now. How bad? Oh, yeah. I forgot that we're doing this at 9 o'clock because we had to accommodate Maggie's schedule. But yeah, so no, hey, sometimes you got to let your kids stay up real late for certain awesome things. Like that time that we saw Terminator up in Maine, and I wasn't supposed to be rated R. I wasn't supposed to see rated R movies, but I didn't say that. No, sorry, it wasn't Terminator. It was Judge Dredd. I saw Terminator at your house. Maggie teaching us how to catfish professionally.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna do something like this. Maybe like bump this guy up. Okay, I don't want to go too crazy on this. So Carissa, if you're ever using the liquefy tool, because I know that you're at least familiar with Photoshop. Anybody else here know Photoshop and interested in Photoshop? If not, that's okay. Just curious. I'm using the liquefy tool here. You always want to do this on an additional layer, like just copy the original layer, and then that way you're not screwing up your only copy. I'm gonna move that like that. But so right now I'm just moving. Forward warping. But if you needed to, kind of correct something, you could hit the reconstruct tool and then just go back to where you were. I don't want to do that. I liked how I was going. So I'm just going to mess this side up. So this is me telling a story here. I'm trying to figure out what my story is. So obviously something happened against the left side, which is his right side, but the left side of his head. And so like maybe he got knocked with like a giant rock or something from a super mutant. So then this side would also be kind of screwed up, like if he fell. So this would also be kind of squished. So let's do that a little bit. So it's just this side. So that's why like this one's kind of protected. This side got really bashed up. And then we'll just do kind of like, oop, that got crunched. I'm going to bring this down a little bit. I know ice cream shop. I don't get the reference. I'm sure I said something and that's why you're referencing an ice cream shop. Okay, we'll do like that. Cool. So, wait, who was it? Was it Steph? Steph had played 76? Yeah. So, Steph, I'm curious about your thoughts about Fallout 76 because when I played it, it was still relatively new. And they had there's, of course, the state of games, as you know, is let's just release it unfinished and then we'll fix it in post. And so Bethesda's been amazing at doing that. And then, what's it? 2077, Cyberpunk 2077 was the worst game I've ever played that had that happen. It's now a good game, but it took 2 years to get there. And I still haven't really played it, but I'm curious about your thoughts because it was so buggy for me when I played it. I just couldn't get back to it.
I was telling him about Cyberpunk the other day, but I could not remember the name of it for the life of me. So that was the one, you guys. It was
Yeah, Cyberpunk. Oh God, I was so excited. I scoured the world to get a Xbox because this is when the Xbox came out and you couldn't get them because everybody was scalping them. I actually got them. In the middle of my day, I left work so that I could go over to what's the Best Buy and like I was constantly refreshing the like Twitter and like all these different things. I really wanted it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, Cyberpunk really let me down. I was so excited for that because um the studio, their big selling thing was coming when it's ready, and they kept throwing shade on companies like Activision that would release games that were just not ready yet, and then they did it, and it hurt more than any other game studio. Cyberpunk was bad, yeah. So we played again recently just to try it, and it was still very buggy. You're talking about Cyberpunk, I imagine. Are you on a next gen console, or are you on the original, like one of the previous gens? So, um, actually, so why don't we talk a little bit without giving spoilers? Who here in the chat has actually seen the show Fallout? Maggie and I are only on episode 2, or we're about to be on episode 3. We've finished
Yeah.
episode 2. Uh, no, 76 was still buggy. Releasing games that aren't ready seems to be the norm. Yeah, it is. And I feel like the only way to get past that is for people to stop pre-ordering. I pre-ordered Cyberpunk because, I mean, geez, it was oh my god, why can't I think of their names? CD Projekt Red, and they had a good reputation. I loved The Witcher 3. That was incredible. Um, but yeah, but I mean, good luck, because people's memories, even the older generation that has it, the new kids haven't had that pain yet. So, um, you're a PC player. Oh yeah, I have no idea how it is with PC. So okay, Margaret,
Yeah.
what did you want to say about? Give me your thoughts without giving spoilers. Um,
On
give
the
me your
show.
thoughts on
So
on the TV show. Yeah.
so being someone who doesn't have the background knowledge that you have as a gamer would have, for me so far, it visually and also story wise, I guess you could say, I can tell it's a game and that it's inspired by a game. I think personally, I haven't felt any reason to really continue to watch except that you enjoy it and it's something we're doing together. But I kind of feel like it's lacking story right now. I don't really understand. Well, I shouldn't say I don't understand. I feel like I can see where it's going, but it's almost more like there's key scenes that I can tell would be scenes in a game that I could see that digital rendering of like um, a game scene where things would be interesting, whether it be something that's particularly violent and how they would, I don't want to give it away, so how they would actually show certain things happening to give you that visual interest within a game. But I don't feel like it's focusing on story components because I don't feel anything for any characters right now. And that's the other thing is the characters also feel very much like gameplay characters. I don't have any sort of attraction to any of them in particular except of like key moments where I'm like, "Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's cool." But I don't really necessarily feel like I need to keep following them, if that makes sense. And I don't know if it's just because we're early on and they're trying to kind of give some history. But I think when you're somebody who doesn't have that background where we kind of jumped in at, there's things that just don't quite make sense to me, which we can go in further if you want.
Yeah. So Steph said that she's with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with Maggie. I stopped after 2 episodes. I love the vibes from the game, but I'm not taken by the story in the show.
Yeah.
So, it's actually funny is a lot of since you mentioned that, a lot of from what I get from the forums, um, like on Reddit and whatnot, a lot of people said that Fallout 4 was a great game, but the story wasn't great. And so I actually picked up the game again recently. That's the one that you saw me playing a few minutes of, I think maybe this morning. I don't remember. but when I was having breakfast.
Yeah.
Um, and eh, I don't quite remember too much of the storyline, but I got so enamored with a lot of the like mechanics of like base building and whatnot.
Mm.
But um, Fallout 4 is what they pulled so much of the inspiration from with um for the game. So like even in that scene that I was telling you where I was like, "Oh my god, the door, the mechanics of the door are the same." You know, the elevator that they're in is the same like it's the thing that blows my mind, and it shouldn't blow my mind, but they're giving the I told you, they're not trying to recreate any wheels. They're pulling direct from the game. They're like, "Oh, this thing looks like this.
Mhm.
Well, let's just do that on screen rather than like recreating how the elevator looks or having too much creative freedom." I'm all for creative freedom, but when you have things like I want to swear so bad right now. Freaking Halo. Oh my god. Bradley can attack. I don't know actually Bradley if Bradley has seen Halo or not. If you have not, do not watch it because Master Chief spends most of his time without his freaking helmet on and doing non-Master Chief things. It's not Master Chief's voice. Anyway, we won't get I understand the creative freedom side of things, but anyway, like they legitimately like the universe was already built for them, but they said, "Yeah, we're just going to use the name and just like plaster elements of it, and that's going to be the fan service." Whereas Fallout feels like almost a love letter to fans because they
Yeah.
kept it so accurate to the game. I understand points that you're making about like, oh, this feels like a game, and like I'm enamored with certain things, like certain scenes, because I'm like, oh my god, look, they did this thing with the power armor. Or they did this thing. Like I told you, I thought it was a mole rat, but it was actually you don't see it except for like little bits of it, and it was a rad roach. I don't
Yeah.
want to give anything away, but let's see. As someone who has played them all, I loved the show. Oh, Mad. I didn't realize that you I don't remember. Can I use your name, Mad? You let me know. Uh I didn't realize that you played all the Fallouts. Which Fallout was your favorite and why was it 4? The base building was the only part I liked about Fallout 4. Dude, it's amazing. You can get lost in it, which is actually I'm trying to focus on that primarily, so I maxed out my charisma and whatnot. And then as a Halo fan, the show pissed me off. My cat's name is Master Chief. Dude, uh Theory knows my name is Master Chief. Like that's what I programmed into it. So like if I ask her for directions, she'll say, "Oh, Master Chief, take a left up here." You know, it's not directions, but it's yeah. I hear you. I honestly I saw like 15 minutes of the first show and I stopped. I wasn't going to watch that. And I was so disappointed because they made a big deal about hiring the actual Cortana voice actress. Um, but then I was like, oh, great. They're going to keep it true to form. No, they didn't. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
Uh,
Okay.
Speaking about how you mentioned like it's a love letter to gamers, I think as someone who knows of the game but doesn't have the background, I got the same impression. So I think that's what makes it harder for those who haven't, I guess, played the game because some of the lore, like I think I can say this because this doesn't give anything away. Like the paladins and like the squire to the paladins, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
um, and them calling them my lord and things like that. There's kind of like this honorable essence to it of things that we've had in our history and in our past, but then like the way that he kind of acted, that one paladin that we come into in the last episode you and I watched, Dave,
Yeah.
his sort of personality, especially when his helmet comes off.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, we're taking these honorable names and these things that make them, I don't know, it kind of gave it this culture that I felt like needed to be almost more revered, I guess, and then it made it really low. So
Yeah.
it was just kind of like, I don't understand this. And I also just didn't understand where paladins came from, where squires came from. There was a lot of stuff as someone who doesn't have the background where I don't understand why things are going on. And I think that's where I'm struggling interest wise because visually it's there. It's really, really cool. But I just feel like the storyline's not cohesive. There's kind of a lot of moving parts that we keep jumping around and following. And I think we're starting to get to a point where they're going to come together. But in the beginning, at least, I was kind of like, I don't know what the story is at all. Like, I understand certain elements of like, oh, she's looking for her father, things like that, but I have no care. I guess I haven't spent enough time with the characters yet, or I
Yeah.
haven't been given a reason to feel sympathy. Like for the squire, I have no sympathy for him. So I don't like his plight. And even when the paladin, is treating him a certain way, I'm just kind of like, okay, I can tell I'm watching a show. That makes sense. Sorry, I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
I'm being super negative. That's not what I mean.
No, no,
I'm
no.
just trying to give the different perspectives that you and I have.
Well, that's exactly why. Like, so for those that don't know, well, no, of course they wouldn't know because they're not in our conversations at home. We haven't really talked at all about the show because we were saving it all for this.
Yeah.
And so no, I totally get it. Like I feel like it's really good if you know a lot of. I think maybe it's kind of like if you've seen season one or someone who has seen season one versus someone who's stepping into season two of a show. I have so much background and they're kind of relying on that. The
Yeah.
nostalgia is there, but in the best way. Um,
Yeah. Where I don't
yeah.
have the nostalgia yet.
Yeah. And so, and I don't know as you'll ever have the nostalgia the way that I do, because I mean, I've
Yeah.
been playing these games since Fallout 3. And that was, Adam had said that, and that's mad. We can use his name. You can use my name, New Vegas, because I have proper good taste. New Vegas is considered largely one of the most popular and best in the franchise. Fallout 3 was when Bethesda took over, and New Vegas was I believe it was actually an expansion. If it wasn't, it was the one right after 3, but it was like continuing the story right afterwards, and it was really good. Um, There we go. Okay. So I just finished denting this guy up. So I'm gonna just show the before and the after. So let me save that real quick. Let's see. Uh Mr. Bradley says, I refuse to watch the Halo show. Nope, not gonna. No, you shouldn't. Absolutely shouldn't.
I'll be right
The
back.
game, yeah, yeah. The game Halo Infinite actually was pretty good. Mechanics wise, they didn't get there with. I started it right after it came out because it was part of Game Pass, and I liked a lot of the elements of it. But there was some like hollow parts. But at least like it felt like playing a Halo game again versus all the other garbage games that. What was it? 343 Industries, yeah, 343 Industries. They had just basically taken like Modern Warfare and threw a Halo skin on it. That's kind of what that felt like. Um, so let's see. My kind of Steph says our other cat is named after a Gears of War character. Oh, Gears of War! I haven't played that since 2. That was an excellent. Oh man, that was such a good game. I think Maggie has a fair point. It's the same for Marvel. Oh my god, I can't talk. Marvel shows and movies. I don't remember what your point was, but I'm sure it was great. You didn't need to watch the other Marvel stuff, but you can be a bit lost if you don't, he says. Okay. Yeah, totally. All right. So here's my dude. Oh, whoops. Here's my dude with the dented version, and this was the original. So what's nice is these are baked in. Carissa, I'll tell you because I know that I'm gonna direct all my Photoshop specific things over to you. The we got if you decide, since this is We'll call it liquefy. Whoops. Here's a mask for you. Okay, so don't stop using the eraser tool. Never use the eraser tool again. If you go over here and you select the layer that you want, and then go over to this little mask thing, click on that guy, and now go away. Now anything that I paint on, so right now the whole thing is visible, all because it's all in white. So if I paint by default, it's going to paint in black. So I'm going to hit the B for brush, bring this guy up, and oh, I don't want that one. That's a brush that I'm going to use for the blood. So we got, there we go. So if I did this, and let's say that I wanted to get rid of all of the adjustments that I did up here. If I just paint in black, you can see that his face comes back, right? Because I'm hiding everything in from this liquefy that's in black. I'm hiding all that. If I wanted to bring it back and say, oh yeah, I just want it on this eye here, I just paint it back with white. And so I just have that eye, but everything else is gone. So you can see that's with the full dense. This is with masking everything except for the eye. So that's the power of masks. If you had done this with the eraser tool, then you're actually getting rid of, if I hit the eraser tool, what I'm doing right now is I'm actually erasing. So you can see if I turn off the underlayer, there's actually that transparent layer under there. And you don't want to do that because then you can't bring that back with the eraser tool. So I'm going to just Command Z all those changes. There we go. Let me just make sure. Yep. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to delete that because I don't need to mask that. There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, we don't have anything new. All right. So I need to bring back my Kyle's brush. If you guys are into Photoshop and you want brushes, they look for Kyle, like just Google it, Kyle's Ultimate Brushes or Kyle's Brushes. It's free. And they're amazing. And I'm going to use, which one is it? Is it the Kyle's Ultimate Pastel Palooza? I think that's it. So I'm going to throw on a solid color layer. And again, Carissa, this is super powerful. So I'm just going to make a blood layer. So red, and then Command I over here. And now anywhere that I want to make red, I can just paint in white. But I'm going to make this flow of 10. Whoop, 10. No, come on. There we go. So that I can just kind of like splatter this on. And obviously this isn't the right color. This is way too red. Whoops. Zoom in here. That is. There we go. Oh, this brush, you kind of have to drag it. Okay. So what I'm doing is just adding this blood, and you can see right here that it's actually not on hit the character 100%. You can see it's like in the background, but I'm going to mask that out very easily because Photoshop is awesome with doing the selections. Actually, Maggie, I was telling you that Canva bought out Affinity, and Affinity, yeah, so that
I
was
have
back
no
in,
problem with that. You know so much more than me. I'm a Canva girly.
yeah.
So I'm happy.
Yeah, so I like the idea of it, except that it just Affinity was the number one competitor to Photoshop and or to Adobe rather, and they had some, or they have some amazing capabilities and tools. One of the nice things is Photoshop, Adobe is like most Premiere is janky. Premiere is the video editor and it's terrible. And it's one of those things where I attribute it to the fact that it's been around so long and they got a lot of old base code and they have to like add stuff onto that and like new features, but they can't mess around with the old base code too much. So it gets really janky versus a newer program like DaVinci or Affinity. It's newer, so they can design with newer tech right from the get-go. Eventually that'll cause a problem in 10 years or whatever, but So I had bought a while ago. I bought Affinity because it's a one-time purchase. It's not a subscription, which is one of the
Yeah.
nicest things because Adobe is 100% a subscription, and so is Canva. So now, if you want to get Affinity, you have to have the subscription. And the other thing is that it's going to enter their ecosystem. Now, I don't know enough about um, Canva's history, but like Adobe or any big company, when they get a really cool competitor, they have a tendency to change things, which
Hmm.
that's fine, but um, it's not always for the better. A lot of these programs lose
Best
their
capabilities.
uniqueness. Yeah, and so I'm not excited about it being a subscription model. That was the biggest thing. Canva is doing some incredible things. They have there's like magic video, magic design, like this magic stuff that I actually tested out today for some different. I did a video and a design thing, and it's actually it's kind of scary good. So I'll show you that, but not on stream. But you might be
Yeah.
really interested in it for some of the stuff you've been making. So I'm gonna hit select subject here. You didn't need to watch the unrelated but great show. What show, Adam? I just see you didn't need to watch the other Marvel stuff, but you can be a bit lost if you don't. And then you said unrelated but great show. That was like 7 minutes later. Okay, so I selected this dude here. I'm gonna go up here and just fill that in, and that's the wrong direction. So I just need to. There we go. So now all the paint is going to show up. Well, sorry, all the blood is going to show up um, only on him, and that's the important thing. So now you're painting with your acrylics, Mags. Did you want to talk about that? You want to give anybody some advice?
Well,
I know
I
you're
mean,
not
I
like.
just kind of play. I think that's just the biggest thing, regardless of what art you're doing. But I think if you just go from a place of or a mindset of I'm just going to play around with it, you're going to have a much more enjoyable time. Painting for me is one of the very few activities that actually like shuts my brain off, which is really nice. Um, but I know, like, I won't say who, but I've talked to people on here where, and I completely understand this because I do this too. If I'm not immediately good at something, I'll want to stop. But a painting, which I feel like I'm decent at now, I still don't consider myself good, but I feel like because I've always had that mindset of just I'm gonna play around, I'm just enjoying the fact that my brain's turned off. I think that's helped me a lot because then you just keep going because it's like everything else. It's like what they always say with the you need to practice, you know. You're not always going to be good at things right away. Um, but that's all I really have to say. If you want to paint purses, I guess I know stuff, but I just speaking of that whole play thing, I took a raw canvas bag I got from Hobby Lobby and I painted a face on it, and that's how it kind of started my whole obsession with painting faces on bags. And I do cartoons. The painting back there with Gossamer, that's not a bag, but I like cartoon stuff. I like things when I was childhood. I like pop culture things. So I just kind of take the things I love and put it on usually clothing of some sort or clocks. I like clocks too. I like to have one of a kind items, which I think is what stimulates me to kind of keep going. But as far as tips, I don't really have much. I just kind of mess around.
um,
Just saw Brad's comments.
yeah. So let's see here. So we got. Uh,
That's what goes on in my mind, though, Brad.
Carissa says, "Giving up when you're not immediately good. Who would ever do that?" LOL. And then Bradley says, "Seriously, Maggie, you're okay at painting? No, no, no. You're amazing."
Yes.
Lots of exclamation points. And then Adam says, "Maggie's so lame."
Yeah. Thank you.
Um,
Thanks,
No, yeah,
guys.
well, I feel like so for you, you're astonishingly good at what you do, and um, like I see the stuff that you do, and I see you struggle with it sometimes,
Mhm,
from like a imposter syndrome level of like every artist does, and
mhm.
then other people don't see that unless you tell them. But no, that's exactly why I wanted you to talk about it because we have a few people on here that want to Bradley do creative stuff and then but just haven't felt that confidence to do it.
Well, I think too, I have a very analytical brain. For those of you who don't know, I have a degree in science, and that's where I'm comfortable. I like knowing that there's one answer and that there's a particular way to get to it. But when it comes to doing creative stuff, with having a mindset like that or having a mind like that, it can be difficult and I think you beat yourself up. I do have major imposter syndrome, like everybody, well, like a lot of people. But I think when you have that mindset of your comfort is knowing that it has to be a certain way, like there's one particular answer, it translates into, well, this should look like this, especially when you're trying to reference an image like I do with cartoons. If it doesn't look that way, then I get mad and I can get frustrated and I'll give up or I want to paint over it. I want to cover it. Um, and then it's funny once you like kind of set it aside and you just don't look at it anymore because you're getting angry with yourself that it doesn't look that way. You set it aside and you leave it alone for a week and then you come back and you're kind of like, it's not that bad, you know? And then you just
Yeah,
keep moving. It took me a little bit of time, I think, to kind of just play and allow my brain to shut off. I don't know specifically. I don't think I did anything specific that turned my brain off. I don't know when it happened, but it's one of those things where it's almost like that's my meditation and I kind of fell into it. So I think that's why I enjoy the painting process so much more. Where when I was a kid, I wouldn't even touch creative things because I come from a family of artists. You know that, Dave. I
yeah,
come from a family of artists. I was never the talented one, ever, ever, ever. So even attempting to do stuff would make me mad because I'd compare myself. I didn't start doing it until we lived in Chino, I think, and we got like my first paint set at like Hobby Lobby, and then that was the like history of it.
yeah. Well,
So,
and I'd also like to. I think you're fine if I tell people this, and
yeah,
if
I'm
not,
an open
then
book. I don't care what you say.
yeah, if not, then too bad because we're on live. So,
Yeah.
um, but there were times where I convinced you not to get rid of something
Uh-huh.
because you were going to throw it out a couple of things, and then
Yeah.
6 months later, to your point that you were saying just a few minutes ago, you ended up looking at it with fresh eyes and being like, "Oh, that's actually pretty good." But when you're in that moment of like despair of like I suck, like which
Mhm.
all artists go through, even though I've been a professional creative person for years, I still get those moments.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's really important for people to hear that because it's like a lot of people, especially because we both have channels, a lot of
Mhm.
people look up to people with channels being like, oh my God, they're so good. But it's I'm not saying that we are, but it's just, it's just getting that stuff out there.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's also finding your medium. So, and
Uh-huh.
allowing yourself to do it because I've loved Photoshop for 20 years. I was like, oh, it's more than that now. I was like 13 or maybe even a little bit younger when I discovered Photoshop um, on a computer that my uncle, hey, Uncle R, I don't want to say your name,
Hello.
but yeah, he gave us his hand me down computers, which, um, geez, I think it was the 46, which would have been Windows maybe 95. And so they had, I had a very, very early version of Photoshop. And so I really liked it then. But then, of course, you and I have kind of the same story of like, oh, you got to do STEM. It wasn't, I was
Mhm.
never told the word STEM. I was just, uh, you know, both my brothers were very creative guys. They're both musicians.
Mhm.
Um, and so I went the other way because that's just the direction that I was kind of like led down a little bit, just kind of enforced a little bit more of like, oh, you know,
That's common, like, that's a cultural thing too, because,
yeah,
same. I wanted to be in STEM. I love STEM. I still love it. Science is amazing. Um, but I think probably along with everybody else that's watching, has probably been told you can't make money with art.
yeah,
You can't make a living with art. You're gonna be a starving artist. So it a lot of times doesn't even seem like an option. And I think that's another reason why sometimes people get scared to pick things up too, because time. You know, we only have so much time in the day where we can actually do things for ourselves. And then we currently live in a culture that's very hustle, hustle, hustle.
yeah,
So whenever you're not at like your main job, you need to be having your side hustle and you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that. And if you're not doing it, then you're not successful and you're lazy. That's the biggest thing. Like if there's a huge culture right now where you're lazy if you don't have a side hustle. And if you're focusing on doing the things that make you happy or make you wind down or meditative, whatever it might be, it doesn't even have to be art. But there's a lot of things that I think kind of hinder people into doing artistic things. Probably one of the biggest, though, is people are mean to themselves, which, ew,
yeah,
totally understand that. I am a butt munch to myself all the time.
yeah,
Even though on my channel, I feel like I seem very, very positive, and I am positive, but I don't show how much I beat up myself because I do it a lot.
yeah.
And I
I get
think
to
that
see it.
a lot of people do that.
What do we got? Uh, Carissa says, for the most part, I agree with you, Mags. When I draw the feet, I'm just gonna pop it up here.
Mhm.
For the most part, I agree with you, Mags. When I draw the feet for my picture, I eventually was like, "Hey, this isn't bad," but there
Yeah.
was no saving the faces. Yeah, faces are tough. Hands are tough.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, especially I don't know so much about feet. Was it feet with shoes or was it feet like with toes and stuff?
Feet with
Hands
toes.
are yeah, hands are real tough because the proportions are so important to get right. I mean, hell, stable diffusion can't even get hands right most of the time.
Mm.
So, you know, that's supposedly artificial intelligence. It's not artificial intelligence. It's just
Hi, Chloe.
Steph
Uh,
says, I used to do oil pastel paintings. I loved making different bird faces. You know what? Actually, I'd love to bring that up about how like just doing one thing, like the bird faces. So my dad actually did. I don't think you can see it. I have one of his bird cuttings right here, but he was the bird man. He would just carve birds. He did do several other things, but his primary things was birds. And I think that speaking for myself, there are times where it's like if you saw my earlier streams, they were like I was obsessed with eyes. I was just like creating eyes and then kind of adjusting them, and I was like, oh man, I should really reach out and do something different that's not just eyes because I don't want to be lazy and just doing eyes, but like if you're just doing something, I mean, art is for you. And if you're getting enjoyment of doing the same thing, like just doing geometric shapes or whatever, like rock it. That's all I wanted to say. It was a long story to get to a short point. Uh, so, and then Carissa says, I'm positive too. Oh, positive I suck. LOL. No. Oh, Steph, you should share your bird faces. Yeah, share them. You got them in you got the Discord. We also have the create with me. That this is kind of a good transition to talk to not create with me. We're doing the create with me. The create-a-thon
Yeah.
coming up in October, which you are going to be a host, a
Yes, I
co-host.
will.
Yep. So in October, what we're going to do is on the Creative Den Discord, there's I'm going to pin it. I don't know if it's at the top. It should be, and I'm just going to go ahead and pin it to the top there. If you go to the top of the streaming, chat, you'll see the Creative Den Discord, and that's the place that we're going to have the Create-a-thon in October. And so the idea behind that is we're doing this is actually inspired by um, heavily by Maggie's own athons. Can I say what kind of athons they are, Maggie?
Yeah.
Okay, the readathons. So she does these readathons that are incredible and awesome. And so I've used her input because she's learned a lot. And if you gals don't know, these gals that are on know all this stuff, right? They're
Dude, yeah, they've helped me build it
yeah.
immensely.
Okay,
Yeah.
I am really looking forward to this. I'm not part of it, but like it's such a cool premise, and a lot of the details that you have are
Yep.
just like awesome. It's stellar. Oh yeah, this guy's seen it. This guy's seen his sorry. Okay, let me do this. That's multiply. This is multiply. Let me see. So what happens if I do let me do this. Okay, it's a little too bright. So let me just change this. Sorry, I'm gonna go back to talking in a second here, but
You're
trying to
totally fine.
soft light. I think I'll do soft light. Overlay? No. Actually, Bradley, this is um this is kind of the same premise as what I did with that Dead Space helmet. Actually, this guy looks a lot like the Dead Space helmet. I did a 3D model for those that don't know of a Dead Space helmet, and I painted it, and Bradley has one of them. So anyway, so I'm using a lot of the same artistic uh, methodologies to doing this as I did for that. So anyway, the create-a-thon. Let's see who's Steph Sherry Birds. Maggie's Mantis thoughts.
Mantis-a-thons?
Yeah, Maggie's Mantis-a-thons. Yeah.
I should do it.
Yeah, that's you know what? I could create a mantis. Yeah.
Do you remember the scene?
Which one?
The munching scene.
Yes, I remember that.
Can you do that?
Yeah, probably.
We could do
It's
a create-a-thon,
Photoshop.
or a create with me with that, and like you do the pictures, and I'll be the words. Okay. You be the hands. I'll be the words, man.
Okay. You'll be the voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will bring it to life. Oh my God, Dave, we will create a picture book for that book. It
Yeah.
needs it. It deserves it. It could be a coloring book, actually.
It could, yeah, we could do a coloring book.
That would be relaxing.
Yeah, it would be. The munching scene. So Bradley says, "Love the helmet." Oh, I got Maggie's. I got Adam's comment up. Bradley says, "Love the helmet," or "Love that helmet," and then Adam says, "The munching scene." I actually have my copy of the helmet somewhere around here. Can't see it from where I'm sitting. I won't go digging through. Maybe I'll show it on next week's stream just to pull it up. But anyway, I don't think I have them anymore. They didn't make the cut when we moved. The birds? I assume that's what you're talking about. So anyway, going back to the create-a-thon, I'm going to have several different people as hosts. Some people have signed up to be hosts. Some people have said yes, maybe, depending on the time frame. And so the idea is to just get folks creating. If you guys have been wanting to dip your toes into the creative world, but just haven't really felt like you're good enough, that's for other people, like people better than me. This is the time and this is the place. We're going to be doing it in October. And so these create with me sessions are supposed to be kind of like a good primer for that. So if there's something that you want to do, the whole idea behind these is not just to sit and watch and listen to me yammer on with whomever my guest is. it's also supposed to be kind of like a creative sprint. So if you get together with other creative folks and you get to do your own creative stuff. Maybe you're doing a Fallout theme on the Fallout week. Maybe you're doing diamond painting.
That's a good thing to talk about, though, is that like each week there's different themes to kind of help narrow you down and pick a kind of like pick a project, and it could be any sort of medium. But like I would say the main thing about your create-a-thon is really that it's the community of like just being together, and we can kind of like you can see it multiple ways, whether you're like holding each other accountable so you keep going, so you that inner voice that you have in your head that's being a bully, you can overcome that by having people tell you like you're doing great. You can post pictures of it. You can get recommendations of things that maybe you could kind of change and do. And you can kind of get inspired by the different themes that come up each week. And then we can have things like this where we all get to like hang out and just work on our stuff together and chit chat. You know,
Yeah.
it's community. That I would say that's the big thing. So there's
Yeah.
like challenges that you can kind of do, and it helps you move along and move past that sort of inner doubt that you might have.
Yeah. Excellently put.
You're welcome.
It's like you knew what you were talking about.
Hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, we're doing that. We got themes. It's gonna be uh based around movies. Mostly we haven't nailed down 100%. I have a really good idea of what I want, but we're still working on it. But mostly things like you grab certain horror movies, but and some of them are going to be like really scary, but some of them aren't going to be really scary. So you have like cartoon Halloween movies, and then you have Friday the 13th kind of thing, and there's going to be a theme and a challenge and
Yeah.
tons of fun. So
Which I think also helps people kind of find their style, because everybody has a different art style. Some people are really into that realistic horror vibe, and then other people are kind of into that whimsical, gothic, Tim Burton-y sort of style, you know?
yeah. Let's see, how do I want
Hmm.
to do this? I'm kind of screwing up his eye here, and so trying to figure out how I want to do this. So it's like obviously this has been kind of like screwed up. So I desaturated the eye. I feel like I want to make some cracks in there, but I don't want to go too crazy with that. So, do you want to show your painting so far or no?
Sure, I can. Just give me 1 second.
Okay. When you
It's not
do,
gonna look like much right now because it's kind of color block. There's not really like detail or anything yet, and some of it has an overlayer of paint, so you won't be able to see all of my sketch.
yeah,
But
but it's good for when you do. Just let me know, and I'll prioritize your screen. You're about to now.
yeah,
Okay, I'm going to no take me.
so my camera's not that great, but I'm kind of just doing a vintage TV set at the moment. And I'm just color blocking, and then the inner part is going to be the what did you call it, Dave? The like please hold on screen.
Please hold.
Please hold. Is that what it said? I don't have my image in front of me.
Or yeah, something like that. I had to
Yeah.
bring myself back on the screen because otherwise you couldn't hear me.
Um, the please stand by.
Oh, wait,
So
solo layout. There we go. That's how you do it. Please stand by. Yep. Yeah, yeah. There you go.
yeah.
Look at Gossamer back
So
there.
that will
Yeah.
be inside the TV or some
Yeah.
sort of rendition of that, because I have more of a square TV with the little knobs on the side. And then
Yeah.
there will be like a shadow. There's like you can kind of see the pencil inside the screen. That's going to end up being kind of a shadow
It
to help.
looks also like you're gonna have that kind of like CRT look where it's like warped.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
So
fisheye.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
the goal, at least.
Looks like you're getting there.
This, typically when I do purses, I have a full-blown sketch that, like, I take a long time before I start, but I chose for the create-a-thon to try and just challenge myself in the sense of, like, just move quickly and freehand it. So we'll see how that goes.
You mean for
Um,
the not the create-a-thon, but this create with me
the
session.
create with me, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Because normally I like to have like I want to know exactly what it's going to look like so I have a good foundation. And I just kind of randomly sketched it and I'm just painting it. So
Yeah.
we shall see.
I think it's good both ways, you know, like just oh, who was it? Ray Bradbury, one of the most well-known writers of our time. Um he didn't before he sat down on the typewriter, he had no idea what was going to come out. He didn't plan anything. It's just like whatever came out,
Yeah.
you know. So, but then you also have people that plan out every little tiny detail, you know. So,
Yeah, you have planners and you have pantsers, as they call it.
pantsers, oh, by the seat of their pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boxers and Books says, I love that orange.
Thank you all. Yeah, that was the other thing is I didn't really think much on colors. I just kind of I went for it. Normally I agonize
Yeah.
over things so
Well,
freaking much.
that's one of the other nice things about doing this on live is that you can't agonize.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is going to be like that. Should I try to turn that light on? Maybe I will. Yeah, I think I might do that. Okay, so what color is that? It's like a yellowy, kind of yellowy greeny color. Oh, while I'm up there, I'm going to bring this back. So there we go. So I'm going to just do this guy. Carissa, do you ever use different brushes? So you see that I'm switching between brushes. I got this soft round brush, but then I have the Kyle's awesome whatever brush, Ultimate Pastel Palooza. Do you ever change brush types or play around with how they the dynamics of a brush? Have you entered into that level of Photoshop? You can really go down a rabbit hole with it. Don't do that. Yeah, no, I'm gonna just keep that black. There we go. Yeah, it's a little too much. This is one of those things where you can just like agonize over the pixels of it, and then oh, this guy looks so fun. I mean, not that he's actually having a fun time. One of the things I might do, Mags, is after I do the Nuka Cola bottle,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about putting it in the background, just kind of like blurry and like in the ground a little bit.
Yeah, I think
So
maybe that's what hit him in the head. Sorry.
and added all that blood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe Nuka Cola's red. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or maybe what happens is like when he goes up against his opponents, he uses a Nuka Cola bottle to annihilate them. And he was in a fight.
Oh, I
And
see. So you're saying that I should put the Nuka Cola bottle in his hand, maybe?
oh, that'd be cool too. Why not? You know?
Multiply. Ooh, that's nice. Okay. Ba, ba, ba. So, yeah, I'm actually getting kind of close to. We're over an hour, and originally I was just going to try to keep this to be an hour. We're at an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
So, I think I'm.
What do you got? A hot date?
No, no, no. I just don't want to. I want to make this so that it's easily digestible for folks,
Rude.
including because people have other places they gotta be, and
So are you saying that I'm not worthy of a hot date?
no, absolutely. But it's just you and me hot date. We gotta go watch the next episode of Fallout.
Well, I asked you if you had like a hot date or something, and you just went, no.
Oh, you are the hot date. I assumed that you meant with somebody else.
But, oh.
There's no hotter date than you. here we go. Okay, so there we go.
There we go.
Just a little bit. Just a
Do, do, do,
happy
do,
little
do.
antennas. Just a happy little antenna.
Just all right, Bob Ross. That'd be great. You do like a whole like Fallout thing, Bob Ross style, and there's like a mushroom cloud in the background. Just a nice little happy mushroom cloud.
Just putting the mushroom down. And he needs a friend.
He needs a friend. Screaming child running. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Nice
Right.
little screaming.
That's
child.
that's not too bad. It's not perfect, but for the time frame, I will probably play with this a little bit more to get the details a little bit more. And we don't have to jump off this minute, but like I said, I want to be respectful of the people's time too. So
Yeah.
So what I'm doing here is I have in general. The husband response. Steph says, "Oh, she's referring to the what I said about you being the only hot date."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the truth though.
If you didn't, the girls would come after you.
I know.
You got my back.
My life would be forfeit. I get it. Yeah, so what I'm doing here is I don't know. I'm actually curious about you, Megs. And so from my perspective, whenever I do like a Photoshop artwork, I build stuff up. And I know that you're supposed to, even in like the traditional paint world, you're supposed to build it up, build up the layers. Don't just put up like a glob of red paint. You want to do multiple layers. And like right now I'm adding the more dried color. So it's kind of like a darker, blacker, anyway. Where was I going with that? I got off topic.
Were you going to ask me if it's the same in the paint world or something?
It was. Where was I going with it?
I don't know, but you're working in layers. Got happy little layers of nice dried blood clots.
You actually have a request here.
Yes.
Marissa says, Maggie, I need you to make more in-depth tutorials on making YouTube thumbnails.
Okay.
The one for my most recent video is rough. LOL.
Gotcha.
You use Canva, right?
Huh?
You use Canva, right?
I use Canva. Yeah. So I had that in my video of like starting a booktube channel, but it's like a very brief sort of like, here's some tricks on Canva, but it doesn't really go into like thumbnail detail, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, so this wasn't what I was about to ask you about. I forgot what that was.
Yeah.
I was it was gonna, yeah. But earlier when I was talking about Canva and Affinity, there's a lot of people that are upset with Adobe right now because of some terms of service, which aren't really different. They just highlighted them recently and people are all worried about it. And, big, bad, big corporations. So Affinity actually, right now you can still get it if you don't have the Canva subscription. You can just buy it by default. So it's on sale right now. It's like $100, I think, or maybe $50 for the whole suite, which is their equivalent to Photoshop, InDesign, and Illustrator, which is an insane deal if you use those things. But I was thinking of trying. I've used, interestingly enough, I haven't used Adobe Photo. I mean, Affinity Photo, but I have used their Illustrator, which is in Designer, and it's actually really good. But I was thinking that maybe I will do a series. I'll start working on some Affinity Photo things and test out those capabilities, and then maybe do a couple tutorials or something like that.
Yeah.
So I really wish that I could remember what I was going to ask you about the, like, I do something in this and does it translate to what you do too? Oh, yeah, no, it's just about building up. That's right. So I'm working on the third layer. So I have
Whoops.
I have two multiply layers, and I have a soft light layer, and that's just depending on how the color affects the image below. Um, do you do the same thing where you have, like, I have three different layers to signify that it's all blood, right? So, but I have the the bright layer. Oh nope, sorry, I don't want to print that. Um, I have the bright layer. I have this darker kind of dried color, right? So which
Mhm.
is that one there, and then I have the brighter red, and then I have another kind of base color. And so, do you do the same kind of thing when you're?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just like your base tone, essentially, your highlight and your shadow.
Yeah. Okay. So you do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would maybe on your blood, I would actually maybe add like a smidge of like an orangey red to make it look fresher. And then I would actually also, your darkest red, I would do one that's a little bit more brown, almost like not rust, because you don't want to confuse it with rust, but maybe it's not quite so red. That's too light. So go on your bar, scroll it down to that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about where I was. It's a little bit darker, but yeah.
Oh, I no, what I was gonna say is a new layer. So I would actually add multiple layers, not just 3 for the blood. I would add 1 more that has that brownie color, the deeper brownie color being your darkest, and then another layer that has, like, some orange to it, and that needs to be, like, tiny. Yeah, I like that deep color.
And so you're saying maybe a little bit more orange, like like this.
Brighter orange. Scroll your color bar down more to the red, a little higher.
And so you're looking at this here, right?
Yeah, a little too high. Yeah, try something like that, and that needs to have just, like, a small amounts, maybe around some edges of your big splatters.
And so I also have it on, like, the
Mhm.
way that I do these blending modes is going to make it different. So that's the original orange color right
Yeah,
there.
can you move that a little bit more on top of the red? And I wouldn't say have it around the full-on edge. I was thinking more of, like, speckles.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to change the brush. This one won't do speckles. Let's see, maybe the chunky charcoal. I haven't used this one in a long time. So we like
Mm,
that, but we don't want to do normal anyway. It You want to have
yeah.
some sort of like let's see,
Mm.
probably an overlay. I feel like the this orange is too vibrant.
Yeah, it's the one I think because of the medium that I typically work in, it's this is harder for me because I wanna, like, blend it with my hand to get, like, those
Yeah.
edges where the speckles are to get those to blend in. Um,
Yeah, so
but I
like see
mean,
this
it looks
this is
great.
with this is without the red, so that I have that red layer turned off. I actually need to reduce that because this is like nice and dark.
Mhm.
And so that's I'm actually kind of looking for a little bit more. Yeah, that's a little bit better. But then if I kind of reduce this, what happens if I do it like that? It's a little too, oh, I have the flow at 100. Yeah, so this is one of those things where this I love this medium because with what you're doing, it's like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. And like, if it doesn't work, then I have to paint over it. Whereas me, I can just toggle it on and off, and I can duplicate layers. I can delete it. I can command Z. So like, it's almost Mad Wombat Z says, Speckles, Dave. Um, but yeah, so like I feel like Photoshop is almost like cheating in a way because I get to really play with stuff, and if it doesn't work, yeah, it's like, oh, let me see how this is. I'll duplicate it, and no, that didn't work, so I'm just going to delete it.
Yeah.
Versus your like pray and spray and pray.
You just have to commit, and then,
Yeah.
like, sometimes it becomes a make it work moment. Um, but, like, that's an interesting conversation too, the whole idea of sorry if you can hear Max. Um, the
Oh,
whole
that's
idea
him with the toy.
yeah, Maxie boy.
That's okay. I don't think it's bothering anybody.
Um, but the whole idea that if you do Photoshop or Procreate or things like that, then you're, cheating, but like, I can understand where someone's trying to come from with that viewpoint if they're coming from a place of kindness and not a butt munchiness, but, it's that's so not the case because it's a different medium. So, like, you just talked about how you have all these layers and you can turn them on and off and try different things, and I've done things in Procreate where it's basically the same thing in the aspect of layers, but I find more comfort and more relaxation if I do it the old school way because I have no choice but to make a commitment and keep going. Where I find myself in a place like what you're doing with Photoshop or even on Procreate, I get to a point where I get overwhelmed because it's like I have so many options and I could go so many different ways. And I want to see all the different ways before I actually make my choice because I want to make the best choice and so on and so forth. That I actually massively struggle doing what you're doing. So people saying that it's cheating, I don't think they fully understand how much skill goes into that, you know? Like, yeah, you didn't make the robot, but I'm doing a bunch of different other stuff to turn this into something that's uniquely mine, you
Yeah.
know?
But yeah, and that's the other thing too, where I feel like an imposter because I make these stable diffusion images, and any fool, I'm proof of this, any fool can make a stable diffusion image, but there is an art form to, at least I've always been really good at the technical side of creativity. So like
Mhm,
understanding how these things work on kind of like a deeper level, understanding how stable diffusion works and like how certain models versus a control net versus LoRa's and all these other things. Like I love learning that stuff so that I can make these things better. So um I say, so I feel like Photoshop is a very creative tool, but it's also, it tickles that part of my technical brain that
yeah,
the kind of artwork that you're doing. It doesn't, there's technical aspects to it, but it's different. And so like it doesn't hold my attention as much. I do like to that meditative state that you've talked about. Um
mhm.
Adam, you'll be happy to know that I found a speckle brush. I'm currently using it. Um the Yeah, that's good.
Sorry.
Um no, you're okay. Um
You're not gonna bless me, David?
you need no blessing. You're pure as it is.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna change this. Uh my meditative state, I actually, when I play with Photoshop, I get there. And then also with mini painting, I like, that's where mini painting feels less daunting to me than a canvas, because it's like, oh, like the lines are there. It's like, oh, I need to do this robe, so let me just paint the red on the robe, right? Versus, oh, I have to draw the robe and now I have to paint within the robe. And now I have to do Master Chief's helmet. Like, no, I just printed it and I got to paint it. So again, it feels less daunting.
Maybe you should try having, like, not just a reference image, but you trace the image onto like the canvas and then
Well,
you
for me, like I don't want to. It doesn't attract me as much as Photoshop or 3D printing. Like that's where
yeah.
me talking about like finding your medium is so important. And like I feel like I have found my mediums. And I felt like for the longest time that I'm not an artist unless I'm doing the kind of stuff that you're doing or like my aunt does.
One
Um,
was funny. I don't feel like an artist because I use reference images or like I'll trace an image and then I paint it in my own style. Like the Cruella and Yzma, I traced an image onto and then I turned it into my own thing. I love those and I think they're really cool, but it still makes me feel like, well, I'm not a true artist. I'm nowhere near as good as other people. I still have a hard time thinking of myself as an artist.
yeah.
You and I
There's
share
actually
that.
there are professionals in the design industry, and I can't think of who they are exactly, but um, I remember reading or seeing interviews with them and them saying exactly that. And they've been titans. I think Paula Schur, if that's how you actually pronounce her name, she's been a design titan since the 60s, I think. And she's the one that really popularized type as an art form, like fonts and whatnot. And
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah. And so I think she was the one, she's actually got a design studio that she co-runs. I don't actually know if she's still involved with it anymore. I can't think of the name of it, but I think she was one of the ones that was like, yeah, I don't feel like an artist, or however she said it was that like even she had imposter syndrome because we're
Yeah.
humans, you know, so we get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, man.
So I think I'm actually just gonna pretty much end this with adding a little bit of I'm gonna add this little light here. Da-da-da. Bum, bum,
That is a
ba,
good
ba,
question.
ba. There we go. A
Hmm.
little bit of a light. Oh, somehow I threw off my opacity.
I could do that.
So you're going to keep working on that for next week?
Yes.
Oops. Yeah, I think I will I'll have I'll do the Nuka-Cola for next week. I'm going to have to play around with it though to try to get it right. So before the stream, let's see, multiply. Do I want to do that? No, I want to do screen, color dodge. Nope.
Come on, White. I am genuinely surprised how well this stream has held up with both of us streaming.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, especially
I've done streams where I cut out constantly, and it's
yeah.
just me.
Yep. So one of the things that I have been doing, although last week my stream got all kind of screwed up, and I don't know why, because I did the same thing that I've been doing. You know, I get the Ethernet cord going,
Mm-hmm.
and um,
Way too late.
I reset the router and everything before, like half an hour before I reset everything. Like I unplug it, plug it
Mm-hmm.
back in after a couple minutes, and just to kind of like make sure that nothing gets done. And yeah, I don't know. I am shocked. It's just because it's you. Like you're the X
No,
factor.
no, because when I do my own, it don't work, man.
It's the
It
power of
goes
us.
nuts.
It's the power of us, Maggie. Let's see. Do I want to do this? Whoa, that's way okay. Maybe. Boop. Oh, actually, I kind of like that. Okay, let's see this. So I'm adding some color here. Oh, actually, I kind of like that. I added some
Yellow.
lightness to the lights. And let me just actually do a little curves
Can I
adjustment layer.
make a little bit of a suggestion?
Nope.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
The, where you have the yellow, like, right around the pupil, add some orange and blend that in, and that will make it look like it's glowing a little bit more, and then even if you have a lighter color, potentially like a very pale yellow at the very rim of the eye, that's gonna help it glow a little bit more.
Yeah, so you said exactly what I was gonna do, only I was gonna do it in reverse.
Okay.
So but I can try that. But again, that's to my what we were talking about earlier of like 3 layers of everything. If I'm gonna do lights,
Yeah.
and not everything, but like if I'm when I was really obsessed with the eyes of stuff that I was doing,
Mhm.
um, I would do exactly this. And let's see, I'm gonna do maybe a linear light. Do that. We're gonna change this over to I'll try your way. You said the pupils would be a little bit more orangey color, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so let me
The reverse
do
might be the way to go though too.
oh, it being over here looks kind of um creepy because it makes his pupil a red dot.
Mm.
Uh, Um okay, so maybe it's not hard light. What is it? Maybe do a screen? No, we're gonna do multiply. Maybe we'll do multiply. Ooh, that's actually kind of cool. I haven't blended anything yet, but I kind of like color burn.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it color burn.
Ooh, that was
But
too
yeah,
fast.
especially because they have all that other stuff that you're seeing is blood. So I'm gonna like use it like this. So I'm just gonna say flow of 10.
Mm.
I didn't tell you, but I planted a whole bunch of more plants today while you were gone.
Oh, I don't know how you
Completely.
have the room, dude. I trust you, but I have no idea how you have the room.
Well, that's your first problem. First mistake.
Trusting you?
Yeah.
Well, that's bad news. I married you.
Let's see. Do we want to do? Oh, you know what? Part of the problem here is that these are above the blood, and I need to make that below the blood. Oh, move these guys just above there. There we go. That's better. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. There we go. So we got this one is okay. So that's not too bad. Blocking that out. Poor I got a couple guys over in the UK that specifically Philip
Mhm.
wants me to do earlier. And
Yeah.
there's somebody else over, and he's not in the UK, but he's over in the same time zone. Um, and so I did the exact opposite with tonight's stream.
Well, why don't next week we do earlier? Because
Well,
I should be able to work from home because my boss will be gone, so I
I
shouldn't
can
have
see it.
to go in.
I can see about it. I was trying to do everything at the same time to get people familiar with that and like kind of in the habit of it, but we could try.
I think it's you're early enough on, you know, um, and we don't like, please don't take this the wrong way, but we don't have like a ton of people on right now. So it's kind of like how you told me when I first started my channel. It's a blessing when you first start that people aren't watching you. because you're
Yeah.
learning and things like that. And so maybe trying the different timings can be a good thing.
Yeah. So you're working from home on Wednesday?
I should be able to.
Okay. This guy, what do we want to do? Normal? Maybe. Okay. Yeah, I'll see. I'll talk to the fellas over there on that time zone and see what time works for them. Like it might even be because they're 5 or 6 hours ahead, so
Hmm.
they might even want to do like if we did it around noon.
Mm.
But whoops! Oh
That's kind of
no!
cool.
You looking at my thing?
No, so like talking about how I had your thing looks cool.
Oh, thanks,
I love it.
thanks,
Um, I like the inverted colors with the orange on the outside. It makes it look like a shadow. Um,
thanks. That's kind of what I was going for.
yeah. I wonder if maybe you need to punch up, like make it a little thicker for the orange rim, just because when you zoom out, harder to see.
Yeah,
Particularly the upper right of the socket, have a thicker band right in that kind of corner edge, I think.
yeah. So that's where I need to
Um,
do.
but no, what I was gonna say is I'm trying to color the like actual glass part of the TV right now, and the colors are not coming out the way I originally intended. It's actually quite bright, but I'm actually kind of happy with it. It looks cool. So it's a make it work moment, but it's like a happy little accident, as our boy would say.
Yeah, it's a feature.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Just maybe. How about this guy? This guy needs to be. Whoops. Adam says, "I guess you're coming over here Wednesday." Well, I think that was the day that we were thinking of coming over in the afternoon. Anyway, I don't remember if that was the day that you and I had discussed,
Um,
but I did text Adam about
Wednesday. Was
next
it
week.
Wednesday? Yeah, I don't remember what we said either.
Yeah.
Um,
Ooh, that looked good.
Wednesday or Thursday.
Let's see. We got that kind of like that. Okay, cool. Actually, gonna. Well, that's actually good. That looks like it's just a whole bunch of dirt. Okay, I think so. What I'm gonna do here is commit to this. What do you think? I still have to do a one more camera off filter, but that's
Mm-hmm.
like once you get to that point, you're baking everything in.
Yeah.
Um, so let me. No, why does this keep doing that? Oh, because I'm using the wrong shortcuts. Okay, come on. All right. So what do you think? Without picking it apart, because I mean, you can
Yeah.
always look at stuff and be like, ah, that needs so much more. But like, you think that's
Can you go to that being your main screen so it's a little bigger so we're not showing up?
oh yeah. Um, here we go.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
Cool. So
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do
Can you do a
here,
before after? Can we see
yeah,
that or is that difficult?
no, but I can't do it in that mode. I just have to do it in this mode.
Gotcha.
So let me move this guy over here. So I'm gonna do that was before. That's after.
Do it again?
Before camera one,
Yeah.
camera two.
Nice. Yeah, he's definitely he's gone through some tough times.
Yeah. Whoop. So I'm also gonna do one more thing, and so I'm gonna make a new layer here. I'm gonna do all the keyboard things. There's like 6 buttons you have to hit to merge everything without messing everything else up. So I'm just going to say, come on. Nope. R8W. There we go. And so now I'm going to go up here to filter, camera filter. Carissa, if you know nothing else, learn camera filter. It's amazing. If you use Lightroom, you'll recognize this whole thing. But definitely do it on a layer, like a new layer, like you just maybe you saw me do this camera filter layer. Definitely do it because again, this is one of those like it bakes things in. So I'm going to bring up the exposure a little bit, bring the contrast up. Where I think this is going to make some money right now. So I'm just changing some of these features so like I can bring the shadows up, which I don't want to do. But where I think this is really going to hit hard, and we will find out in just a second here, if I add some clarity and I add some texture, and I'm actually going to move my light so I can see this better. Whoa. So let's see. Are you looking at it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So this was the camera filter that I'm doing right now. So this was what you just saw. This is with some additional texture and lighting stuff.
Nice.
So you can see that like bingo, bango, right? And so this I think would print really well. Ooh, like I'm excited to do this one. Like I'm gonna put this in print. Actually, have you done any print? Oh, obviously you have, because you have your bookmarks and stuff.
Yes.
Have you sold? How did you sell that stuff?
This is my first time having printed merch. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, you let me know how that goes, because I actually was gonna make a store for some of these things to do like the 18 by 24 prints like I got on my wall.
Well, you
And
can
I
do it
think
on
this.
Etsy.
What's that?
I said you can do it on Etsy. YouTube also, I think, has like a feature. I don't know if it's like handmade items though, or if it's like you go through.
No, you can. I know with that you can. You make a there. It connects to like 5 different shops. But you can't see me anymore. Yeah, so you can connect it to existing shops.
Yeah.
And that's how they do it. And so like you have your own shop online that you can connect to anywhere, that you also connect to YouTube.
Got it.
Which is cool, because then it's not just locked into YouTube.
Yeah.
I have one last step. Pow. Throw this guy down here. Something like that. Bring this guy down. Whoop. Boom. Oh, I love seeing my name on there. Nice. Okay. I think that's damn good. Yeah. All right. There he is. That's my guy.
Did you give him a name?
No, so I have to poll everybody. So who wants to give this guy a name? What is his name?
Frederick.
What? Frederick?
Frederick.
Okay, we'll see. Maybe he'll be Frederick. I like to give people the opportunity. You've already named Starflower. What was your dragon's name?
I don't remember. I think Starflower sounds right.
It's close to that. And then let's see. Buxers and Books says that looks so cool. Also, tell me the Fallout is definitely not a show for me. LOL. Also tells me. Oh, also tells me. Oh, the image. Well, okay. So this, what you're looking at, is a much more horrific version of Fallout. The idea is that it's actually fairly bright in the TV show. But
there is gore.
Yeah, there's definitely some gore. Yeah, no, don't watch it if you don't like gore. There's in episode 2, there's some stuff that happens. So actually, no, episode 1 does too, but
I think it's going to be all the episodes.
Yeah,
there's definitely blood. It's like you got to imagine you have like this crude sort of apocalyptic element that meets the bright, fluffy, shiny, perfect demeanor of the 1950s. It's like those two merging.
Yeah, so it's what's the name of that? um there's got to be a term for it. I haven't looked it up yet, but because shoot, BioShock does the same thing where it's like 1950s era stuff, but atomically powered. So like you'll have these old CRT TVs, but then this incredible like these underwater cities and stuff. Not in Fallout, they don't do underwater cities, but they have like advanced technology, but still mixed with the romantic version of like the 50s that we see, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so Carissa asks, "Oh, question, since you brought up starting a store, how does licensing work? Or is that something you don't have to worry about?" So, one of the things with something like Stable Diffusion, so like this dude, um, I'll answer this in three parts, I think. So number one, this is not an actual Fallout character. This is inspired by Fallout. So if this was the actual Fallout character, if I actually had Nuka Cola on here and it said Nuka Cola, then that is absolutely something where that would hit the IP. So this is inspired by Fallout. This is in the Fallout universe kind of thing, but it's like this little dude isn't in it. If I were to do, there's a floating guy, Mr. Gutsy. He's very, is that right? My brain's not working properly. The floaty guy that he's Cogsworth in Fallout 4. Um, is very iconic to that character. It's essentially like, oh, I'm gonna do Mickey Mouse. Now, if I was to do something in the universe and inspired by, that's something completely different. And then also, so that's number one for the intellectual property side of things. Now, Bradley, if you're still here and listening, and I say something incorrect, since you are the lawyer, let us know. But number two is um, Stable Diffusion or Dolly or any of these image generating things. Specifically talking to that, it's open source. As far as like you're free, you have to read the terms and conditions, but all the ones that I've used, it's open for commercial purposes, especially Stable Diffusion because it's open source, so you can use it however you want. So that's it. As far as a store is concerned, if you do AI stuff, some stores, some places, so YouTube included, they are doing where you have to label. There's actually a checkbox. Instagram does this too. They're all doing it. Where if you are showing something that could be misconstrued as misinformation, like maybe Trump in the courtroom. Oh, probably shouldn't have said the name because I don't know if YouTube will flag that, but certain characters in courtrooms, and like if I were to have made something that was about that, and like maybe he's holding something, I don't know, whatever, to mislead people, you have to label this as like, this is not real life, this is art, but this obviously isn't real life, this is art. I think that should hopefully answer your question. Then answer your question. Juxtaposition. I don't know what that was referring to. I said so much. I said three parts, but I think that was just two parts. Do you have anything to add, Maggie, on that?
Nothing that I can think of off the top of my head. The only thing that I guess maybe is like, even if you do something like if you were to put in your store and you said that this is specifically Disney's very strict. But if you say this is Disney inspired, if you just straight out say like this is Cruella from 101 Dalmatians, this hand painted purse, or especially if you say Disney Cruella from 101 Dalmatians, they will totally be able to go after you for that. But even if you say inspired, I believe they can go after you, or I've at least read things where people have said that their posts and things have gotten taken down and things like that.
So what's funny on two parts of this? So Disney also has stolen stuff,
Yeah.
and so remind me, Maggie, the Disney infringing on intellectual property, and then also um, uh, if it's popular enough, like they may or may not come after you. So, but they have done things where, like, I remember when I was working at Disney, I don't remember if you were working at the time, but there was actually a cool piece of art that they were selling on clothing. And um shortly afterwards, like a month later or whatever, I saw it in the threads because I'm on the design forum stuff. And apparently someone had sent the actual artist a congratulations, like, oh my God, there was a friend. They're like, oh my God, you sold to Disney. This is great, whatever. And the person's like, wait, what? And so Disney had infringed on them and just like ripped them off. And now the thing is, did Disney corporate do that, or did somebody in the Disney like sphere of making merchandise and not realize? They're just like, oh, I like this, we're just gonna slap it on. And then, they didn't necessarily, potentially, I'm giving them as much credit as I can, they didn't necessarily know that you can't take from just the internet. I mean, I've worked with lots of project managers that are just like, I have to do a project and I need photos, and they say just use Google, like use Google Images. It's like, no, you can't. You can't do that. Like, people just don't know. um but then the other thing is, so they'll infringe. They made it right. Disney in that case made it right. They paid out and stopped using it. But the other thing is just, oh yeah, so there's versions. So like Mickey Mouse, the original from Steamboat Willie, the black and white version, he's now in the public domain, so anybody can use his likeness as much as they want, and so you can sell that stuff. You can make a cushy, and like, and that's cool. um the But you can't use any version that's not him. So if, like, that was a black and white version, so you can't use a red pants with the, was it yellow buttons, right? Because that's not him. So it's not all of Mickey Mouse, it's that version of Mickey Mouse. And one of the things that Disney has been very creative about doing is that you only have so long that you can have your intellectual property before it goes into public domain. I think it's like 75 years, 78 years, something like that. There are extensions that you can do. But anyway, Disney has changed Mickey slightly every few years. And so they'll have like, oh, now his buttons are, five sided instead of just a circle, like small things like that. Um, and so, yeah, Adam said that I need a piece of paper to remember questions I ask. And then the juxtaposition, Carissa says, you answered my question. The juxtaposition was you saying romanticized 1950s meets apocalyptic. Yeah. Which I really, I really like. I think that's probably like my thing. My brother really likes steampunk, and like, it's cool. Steampunk is cool, but I think that mine is more of whatever this follow Bioshock.
It's like apocalyptic atomic 50s.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
like
the
that.
way the 50s thought the future was going to be, then make it apocalyptic.
Yeah, there's going to be an actual term for it. I'll ask ChatGPT. He'll know.
I like my term.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'll tell Chat that you coined that phrase, and that he should tell
Let him
everybody.
know, so he can let everybody else know.
That's, if they ever wanted to know, then that's what it is. So,
Yeah.
All right. Did anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints? You can send them over to Adam. Adam actually came up with a really good name, which I might go with. Pickle jar.
Love it.
Yep. I like it. I like it. Adam, did you come up? You did. You came up with the last one that we did last week. What did we call it? Hold on. I'm going to grab it because I have it here. It was, is it in this folder? It's the,
Onion jar.
no, it's the Alchemist bottles. Flask of Living Undeath. So that was this guy here up on the screen.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the Flask of Living Undeath. And so that was, again, an Adam trademark name. And so this guy here is going to be Sir dubbed Pickle Jar, or henceforth called Pickle Jar. I like that.
Love it.
Okay, did you want to show anybody before we jump off? Do you want to show anybody where you're at?
I mean, I can, but it's a hot mess.
No, that's fine. Hold on. Let me highlight you. There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I like it. I dig it.
Yeah, so it's still just like color blocking, not detailed, but and I decided to change the color of that. So, more work, but
Yeah.
whatever.
No, but that you've made quite a bit of progress in the last hour. I think you showed me about. Yeah, we're at like the 2 hour mark. We just
Yeah.
passed the 2 hour mark. But hey, everybody, thank you for joining us. Maggie, did you want to tell people where they can see you if you want to, or do you not want to?
I mean, it's in my name, but sure.
Maggie's books and stuff. You just
Yeah.
look it up on YouTube.
On the
And I also
Ds.
think that I linked you in the description of this video, and I will also add your handle over into the top comment once this finishes processing tomorrow. Then I'll throw it in the comment, like the normal comment section, not the live comment section. Um,
You're so professional.
yeah, yeah, girl. You're spending time with me and kind of like helping to inspire the masses. And hey, everybody, basically everybody that's on right now are friends or family, and we very much appreciate your support. Love you all.
Yes.
um yeah, so let's see, I'm gonna switch over to just the two-person mode. And then did you want to have, like, do you have an outro, Maggie? Do you say anything? I mean, I always say the same thing after every video, so I have to
Yeah,
end it.
no. I don't have a phrase coined. I just, I mean, in my videos, I just go, bye.
Yeah, you go bye. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks
Yeah.
for hanging out with me, guys. Have a good night. I'll check you later.
Yeah. Join up on the Discord for some creative chat. Maybe Maggie will join up over there too. I know she's part of the Discord, but we're just kind of getting going on it. But thank you so much for following along. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, throw them in the comments. And until next time, be good to each other.
It's always interesting when you hit like the end live and it takes a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't hit it yet because some comments are rolling in. Don't lose your pickles. Have a great night. Night. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.